On a previous episode of When I'm Not Podcasting, I talked about Lil Nas X. When the video for Montero, Call Me By Your Name, came out and was released. Well, the buzz of that song made it big, and we are going to start seeing that the song's going to make it to the top of the charts. Here is the key. Here's the telling sign. Lil Nas X was able to beat the song The Weatherman by Nathan Evans, 220 Kid, and others. The sea shanty song, if you will, which was the number one song for 2 weeks, which preceded Driver's License by Olivia Rodrigo on the UK official charts. And the chart show, which airs on BBC Radio 1, announced today on the program that Montero became the number one song in the United Kingdom. His second UK number one single, that's according to the official charts company, and the song was released March 26. I talked about it a couple days later, and the song has been surrounded by controversy over the last week, partially due to the religious imagery used in the video. Right-wing voices criticize Lil Nas X for using scenes based on the Garden of Eden, in which he gives the devil a lap dance. And also the star has been in another bunch of controversy because he was accused of copying elements of the video from FKA Twigs visuals for Cellophane. And they both addressed the claims, with each one the former thanking the rapper for his acknowledging his inspiration in a conversation with her. So the song that again beat was Nathan Evans' viral TikTok hit Weatherman, down to number 2, and Justin Bieber was number 3 in the countdown there with Peaches, the song he has right now, along with Daniel Caesar and Giveon. Now, also, Nike has filed a trademark lawsuit against Lil Nas X over the line of his Satan shoes that he created with Brooklyn-based company MSCHF. The shoes are customized Nike Air Max 97s, reportedly created without the sportswear company's permission. So there we go. That's what's happened so far with Lil Nas X in that case. Now, I want to go ahead and talk about the fact that, okay, the song is predicted now to be the number one song on the Billboard Hot 100 come Monday or Tuesday. Most likely Tuesday because we have the Easter weekend. So the chart will probably be delayed. But by the time you go and get to that, we will get to the point where Lil Nas X will again be number one after his song Old Town Road made it to number one and spent 19 weeks on the chart. Now, last week on the program, or a couple days ago when I did a previous episode of When I'm Not Podcasting, basically said, no problem with the song. If you didn't watch the religious video, the video of him, twerking to Satan, you wouldn't have probably made much of a difference. But again, it was to go ahead and emphasize the issue of him being queer, and somebody had to actually make me understand what the whole story was behind it. So the idea was somebody was telling me about the fact that that he is queer, and regardless of what people will think about his sexuality, and his sinfulness, if you will, he doesn't matter if he goes to hell. He'd rather just go right down, twerk with Satan, and give him or her a lap dance, and then crown himself, the Prince of Darkness. That's basically what he's trying to say. So I get the whole symbolism and connotation behind that. But now the song's going to be number one, and now the blowback is going to get bigger than ever. Because, and again, it's a lot of controversy. Again, bad publicity is good publicity in some cases. We are in a very hypersensitive culture right now with a lot of division, which has been pre-constructed by the media, but that's another story. So now we're here, and there's more being talked about and written about it. Time Magazine, I don't know why they're talking about Lil Nas X, but they talked about the symbolism in the video. Obviously, the political side of the argument was going to come in and talk about it. I'm not going to bring up any of that, but what we're going to talk about is this, that the video has drawn praise, and not just those among celebrating the proud embrace of LGBTQ imagery and themes. Another contingent, besides the Church of Satan, which I talked about in the last episode, is actually rallied around the music video, historical scholars. So Montero is stuffed with Greco-Roman and medieval Christian motifs and messages in both Greek and Latin. Lil Nas, in an interview with Time, said he wanted to deploy this type of iconography and symbolism to draw a connection between ancient and modern-day persecution. So we're getting more context to this, and this is why I thought I'd point this out. He said, quote, I wanted to use these things that have been around for so long to tell my own story, and the story of so many other people in the community, or people who have been outcast in general throughout history. It's the same thing over and over. Okay, let's move along with that. And scholars has come away impressed by the video's attention to detail and conceptual sharpness. They say it is deeply researched and builds a powerful historical narrative that centers queerness in historical and religious spaces where it is too often erased. Watching this video, I was a little bit shocked just because of how much knowledge you need to have to unpack some of these elements. This is according to a University of California Irvine professor, Roland Benecourt. He's an author of Byzantine Intersectionality, Sexuality, Gender, and Race in the Middle Ages. And he said that institutionalization of homophobia is a learned thing, and there are other origin myths available to us that are not rooted in those ideas. Talked about the Garden of Eden. One person says, an associate professor of classics at Columbia University said, Joseph Halley, quote, "The story of the Garden of Eden is a tradition that is historically misogynist. It aligns women with evil. It aligns sexuality with men and with evil. Lil Nas X is turning that on its head with the way his character and the serpent interact." And then Bentecourt also notes that Lil Nas' snake resembles not just the serpent in the most retellings of the Bible, but Lilith, Adam's first wife from Jewish mythology. In the Middle Ages, many paintings were drawn of Lilith as part serpent, part human demon who tries to tempt Adam into all sorts of bad behavior, including having sex on top of Adam, which is depicted in Montero. So Lilith has this popular culture degree to her and is understood to still exist in the world. Interesting. And in recent TV shows, Lilith has been used as a symbol of revolt against the patriarchy. Remember Lilith Fair. Interesting. There's more to this as well. And it goes into a whole lot of information about this. Then I mentioned the Colosseum and the Marie Antoinette type thing. And that Bentecourt says the scene casts Lil Nas as a Christian martyr in the tradition of Roman Catholics getting murdered for their faith. And when Lil Nas starts to ascend to heaven, however, a crucial tweak is made. He is not greeted by St. Peter, but a male angel resembling the Greek mythological figure Ganymede. Ganymede, according to lore, was a boy whose beauty was so intense that Zeus turned into an eagle and carried him to Olympus. He has long been a symbol of homosexuality. And this moment of Christian ascent, you have this very queer iconography and this early example of representation of same-gender desire in antiquity. I see that scene of salvation as not that he's going to heaven, but rather having a same-gender consummation that is legitimized by pagan gods. Then the descent into hell. And in this story, they say that as he walks up to the throne, he passes a phrase in Latin that says, "They condemn what they do not understand." And the Bentecourt also points out in the Middle Ages, when Christianity was rising across Europe, the church's relationship to homosexuality was more ambivalent than it is now. He references historical texts about individuals who were assigned female at birth but became monks in the all-male monastic communities, as well as brother-making rites which bound two men in a marriage-like union. Homophobia wasn't always a central tenet of Christianity. As a medievalist, modern Christianity seems utterly foreign to me. Interesting. Okay. So the aforementioned scholars said they see plenty more intertextual allusions to modern and antique touchpoints laced throughout the video. And they also make mention of other works where they talk about Tony Kushner's Angels in America, John Milton's Paradise Lost, or Lady Gaga's Judas. And that also very ironic is being put out on Easter week, Holy Week of all times. You got to understand the coincidences are all here, okay? Just keep that in mind. So there we go. It's very interesting. You know, again, I must admit, this was very well planned, very well orchestrated. I have to go ahead and, give some credit here about all the work that was being done for this video and how much it was not just shock and awe, that there was a lot of context that went behind it. And, I must admit, even though the shock and awe is definitely going to create a negative effect, I must admit that the effort being made is quite interesting. And somebody actually told me, the same person that tried to explain the video to me also said that, you know what, sometimes good art can definitely offend, people are not ready for real art. And that's probably true. And so I hear that and I'm saying to myself, wow, that's there's not a whole lot of artists that really go that deep into what they're trying to do here. But that is very conceptual in all different accounts. So I completely understand now the method behind the video and the song and what was being made. And again, that was just for a song and a video. And because of that, that song's going to be #1 on the Billboard charts coming up this week. So there we go. I'll leave it there. We'll talk to you next time.